I'd like to welcome you to WCPT AM's Out Chicago. Think of us as Sunday brunch with your gay best friends. Now please welcome your host, Scott Duff.
And a happy Sunday fun day to everybody out there. Scott Duff here along with Ellen Miller.
Good morning, Scott Duff.
Good morning. Happy Thanksgiving weekend.
Happy Thanksgiving weekend to you too.
Happy snow day.
This is the first time I've been out of the house since Friday around 1 p.m.
All right, come on now. Come on. Yeah, no, we've been exploring. We've been polar
Good
explorers.
for you.
Yes, we went to the Art Institute. We went to this amazing Chicago artisan market yesterday during the snow, not without its challenges. I will say it was really fun. It was kind of kooky driving around the snow. I'm like, okay.
Girl, it wasn't super far from your house, but any travel at all, though,
but it was also on
yesterday.
I know, because it was like it was during the snowfall, and you know that they don't put the trucks out.
No, not for a while.
Not for a while, because they want to let things go and then clear it up. And it's so funny, actually. It was in the snow. We've got 3 senators staying with us.
Are they still with you?
They are still, yes, they are all still with us. Praise be. Praise be. Every head bowed, No, but, they're like, snow, and there's a little bit of panic going on, I'm like, we got this. Chicago knows how to deal with this. So I was driving around it's great. The event's taking place. The Chicago Artisan Market is happening again today from 11 until 5 o'clock at Artifact events. It used to be Architectural Artifacts on Ravenswood. I think it's 4820. It's an incredible space. The vendor, so much stuff that's so great. And a lot of consumable things.
That's what I
deliciousness. Like there's great food that you can go there. They've got
food to pack, like candy and things, or things to eat while you're shopping.
Yes, and
okay.
Yeah, there's great. I got some amazing hot sauce, like these hot chili oils that were just fantastic. Oh my gosh, I haven't seen. I'm sorry. We've got new cameras in the studios, and I just saw they moved on their own. It was pretty great. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that's there. I mean, you can buy, chocolates, and you can get all the blah 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 blah. But there's beautiful pottery, and then there's paintings and leather work and fat. I mean, it's just.
Did you purchase or just look?
I made some purchases, and I actually got you guys some happies
you
to
forgot
thank. I forgot them. I know.
Wow.
I mean, for everybody who runs the show, just to let you know, I'm very thankful.
Well, it's the thought that counts.
I know. You'll get it next week.
Okay.
They're really cute chocolates from this guy, Bon.
Oh, I love a good chocolate.
Oh my, they're so cute, and they were adorable. Anyway, so we were driving through our neighborhood, and it's along Ravenswood. So Ravenswood is not
right.
It's snowy, whatever. Drop them off. I'm like, go on in. We'll park. We'll find a spot, and then we'll meet you in there. And as we're going down, I'm like, we're coming up to, I think it was Montrose or something, whatever the next big street is. And I'm like, should we go left or right? And Jerry's like, if we go right, that's going to be a neighborhood. I bet you a lot of people haven't moved with parking and everything. I'm like, you are so 100% right. I'm like, so let's go find. They're like, you could probably find a space on the other side of Ravenswood. I'm like, okay, awesome. So we are driving up, and there's this truck that's in front of us, like a delivery truck. And I was saying, God bless anybody who has to drive a truck in Chicago. It is just.
Where do you put it?
Where do you put, just navigating, the bridges, navigating traffic, watching the delivery guys every day at the snack factory. I'm like, how do you do it? So much mad respect. And as I said this truck just stops. I'm like, oh, okay.
Uh-oh. Respect turned into frustration.
Well, no, it was very much, I was like, what? Oh, okay. We're just going to stay here for a little bit. I'm like, cool. Just hang out. And then the driver got out, and she came over, and she's like, hey, there are 2 trucks up here, pickup trucks that are too far out. She's like, I can't get through.
Oh, no.
And there's a line of cars that have piled up behind us. So people are leaning on their horns. I'm like, stop it. And she went in to go talk to somebody in the building, because there are office buildings all along there. And she came out. She's like, apparently this has been happening all day. A trolley got stuck here and had to back its way out of Ravenswood. We are good 2 city blocks in. And she's like, I can't do that. And then people started getting out of their cars. What's he saying up there? And I'm like, well, she said by the way. It was a lady truck driver.
They assumed it was a guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's sometimes I'm like, well, she said that there's a truck she can't get in. I think we're going to have to back up. And so we kind of like, I got out of my car. I started walking down, letting everybody know, like, hey, this is what's happening, blah, blah, blah. We're probably going to have to, by the time I was walking down, cars had started backing up. But everybody was like, oh, all right, come on, and this nice truck driver was down back on Ravens, like, directing traffic and pulling people out. And I watched this one guy. I'm like, dude, where are you going? Because there was one guy who was a little like, about it, and he went up and he hopped up like onto near like where the train is. I'm like, what are you doing here? You just wanted to see to make sure that yes, indeed, it's stuck. And I'm like, oh wait, no. He found like there were some traffic cones. And he was just grabbing them out to help block the traffic off. And I'm like, you know what? Chicago comes through.
Village.
But yeah, it was one of those moments where I'm like, Chicago, we all band together and we all fixed it. And hopefully she made her way out of there.
Spirit of the holidays.
Spirit of the holidays.
Well, that's a happy ending.
I know. And we've got a happy show for you today. Hey, Season of Concern is Chicago's nonprofit dedicating to providing financial assistance to all Chicagoland theater practitioners impacted by illness, injury, or circumstance. And as we roll into the holidays and set to commemorate World AIDS Day tomorrow, they are offering up several different events. And Managing Director Christopher Pasternak joins us at the top of the second hour. And Chicago Opera Theater presents the highly anticipated Chicago premiere of Falstaff, Ossia Lettre Burle, which I just totally butchered that title. It's by composer Antonio Salieri. Kind of really good timing since Salieri is a prominent figure in Amadeus, which is not playing at Steppenwolf. We're going to be chatting with opera singer turned conductor Christine Brandeis. And because we are now launching into the holiday season, I thought it would be nice to visit one of my most favorite interviews of all time, our conversation with singer-songwriter Paul Williams.
As I recall, there were tears involved.
There were so many tears, and it was happening around Thanksgiving weekend, because that was the Thanksgiving that Jerry and I got COVID. And we had to cancel Thanksgiving.
All the memories.
Oh, I know. I was so bummed. It was going to be the first Thanksgiving that my sister was going to be with us. But anyway. So we're going to play it again.
Good.
Because it makes me happy.
Let's do it.
There we are. And listen, you can always listen live Sundays from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Central right here on 820 a.m. on TuneIn from heartlandsignal.com, or watch the live video stream on the WCPT Facebook page or the Heartland Signal YouTube page. And make sure you visit the Out Chicago page to listen on demand to recent interviews and full episodes of the show. Find subscribe links to our full episodes and featured interview podcasts, and read all about us. See an Out Chicago photo gallery and more. Go to heartlandsignal.com/out-Chicago. Ellen, how was your holiday?
It was very nice.
Yeah.
We did not host this year. We often do. But my brother and his wife, Mari, did hosting duties. There were 6 of us total, so it was very manageable. And
right on.
I made I usually make the New York Times recipe pecan pie with an all-butter crust and truffle mac and cheese. Nice. I have gained weight since I saw you last.
Well, it's the holidays.
I know.
Look, girl, everybody's being so pissy about it. Like, I've gained weight. I'm not like, just let it go.
Mainly because
it's like 2 pounds.
It was 2 pounds.
Right.
You're right. But I've worked so hard to lose it.
No,
I lost like almost 20 pounds since May. And, you have to almost be maniacal. You have to be like crazy about it. You have to be
you have to be regimented.
You have to be regimented.
In order to maintain.
What I wanted to do is go way below my goal and then just fatten myself up.
During the holidays.
Up to the goal. But you know what?
Look,
we could have worse problems.
I mean, I understand that you've worked very, very hard, but I also want to extend yourself some grace.
Thank you.
These are kooky times. These are the holidays. It's a major food holiday. Just sit around and just be like, okay, I get it. And then next week, have some salad.
I haven't been doing my as much exercise. I swim 3 days a week, but I usually walk. And last week I was sick, and this week the weather this weekend it's not been.
Girl, you could get a really good workout walking in this stuff, especially with when they have it shoveled.
At my age, so you don't want to slip.
That is true.
Because the bones are getting a tiny bit more brittle. But you know what? If that's my worst problem, I'm in good shape.
Good.
We had a lovely Thanksgiving. And when I saw you last on Sunday night, we went to the neighborhood tree lighting in Lakeview, which is always fun. They give away free cocoa, and they ran out of donuts, but
you got to get there early.
I was all like ready to break I've been doing my weight loss. It's called intermittent fasting. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Contrary to what a lot of people are way they're losing weight, which is whatever works for you. But, that's another discussion. We have opinions on that. But I just worry about the future because we don't really know. That's my biggest concern is what are the effects going to be 5 years from now?
Laser eyes.
Because
laser eyes? Everybody's going to have laser eyes.
Oh boy, who knows? But the highlight, Scott, since I saw you was the Paul McCartney concert.
Oh, come on now.
At the United Center. We bought tickets when they went on sale several months ago. It was a Monday. I was still not, I've had a cold like a lot of people have. There's this thing going around that just stays. It's not horrible enough to keep you in bed, but horrible enough.
It's just annoying.
To annoy
and
you.
It lingers.
And lingers. Mm-hmm. But I was like, okay, we're going to Paul McCartney. I'm sure it'll be good. Well, sometimes when you don't anticipate things and you're not, you don't have as much of an expectation. Oh my God, I've seen him several times, but there was something about this show. Probably me feeling my mortality, him at 82 or 83. He's up there he's 25. I mean, he's moving great. He's lost a little on his high range of vocals, but his vocals sounded great. It was Paul McCartney. He sounded great.
Yeah.
And his rap is great. His vibe is great. He came out doing Help. And he had not performed that song live in 35 years or something.
Wow.
And it just takes you right back to an era. I'm older than you, Scott, and I got Meet the Beatles from my Aunt Virginia my first Christmas in Chicago in 1964. She got us Meet the Beatles.
Yeah.
And our lives changed. That was it. And at the end of the show, I started crying, which I don't have that happen to me at concerts. It happens in theaters.
I do. I cry all the time at concerts.
You're more of a crier. I do not cry at concerts, but this one was an exception. The tears started flowing. I mean, he did 35 songs, almost 3 hours. Almost my entire life can be marked by Paul McCartney. The Beatles, Paul McCartney Wings, Paul McCartney solo. And it was just overwhelming and wow, I'm turning a certain age next year. That's a little frightening for me, but that's better than the alternative. And he's in his 80s, and you just don't know when you're going to have the opportunity again. And Monday night, I didn't see anybody we knew at the show. Usually we run anybody. But Tuesday, everybody's like, should I go? Should I buy the ticket? People are texting me.
Right. You're
I'm like, if you can afford it, go for it. You will not regret it. And people went, and so many had the same reaction I had. They were crying at the end. They were tearing up. So when music or an individual performer can do that to you, it is very special.
Well, it's also... that very Proustian element about when accompanied by music, a memory is very much more tangible.
So true.
That's going on there. And when you have somebody who's been in your life since 1964, you're like, you have gone on a journey. They've gone on a journey with you, and you've gone on a journey with them. They are part of your life. That's how I was. I know this is so
Missy Elliott.
No. With Madonna. I know it's not Paul McCartney. I know. I get it.
But she's been a part of your...
But she has been a part of my life since I was, in 7th grade. Okay. Something about that. And seeing her last year, I was very nervous about seeing her because my Madonna is the Truth or Dare Blonde Ambition tour Madonna when she was, young and juicy and just and she reinvented what it means to do a stadium tour, or an arena. She created... Basically, because of Madonna, we now have all of these shows, these gigantic shows.
People flying.
People flying, Pink doing all that stuff, Beyonce doing her things, Taylor Swift just kind of pushing away curtains the way she dances. She just goes like this. That's all she does. And she leans. But good on her. But I was really nervous about it because that was my Madonna. I've only seen her that one time. And this was she was celebrating 4 decades. Of being in the industry. And I, the first 10 minutes, I just had tears streaming down my face because I'm like, we've been through so much together, Madonna. You've gotten me through a lot of stuff. Mm-hmm. So I totally understand.
It's the same kind of thing. Just, whatever artist does it for you. And he's just, I was worried too, because, I heard him on that Saturday Night Live 50th anniversary special, and he could barely sing. And we're like, oh, what are we in for? But you know what? He sounded great. He really did. He's 82,
he might have had an off night that night.
Yeah, he did. So I was just grateful that we got to do that. And I know a lot of people can't, because it was really, it was not a cheap ticket.
Right.
The first time I went to see Paul McCartney, I saw the Wings Over America tour in 1977 at the old Chicago Stadium, and tickets were probably reasonable. But the very first time I went after that, I couldn't believe we were spending $300 or $250 to see a concert. Well, triple that, and that's about what it cost. Girl. We got cheaper seats. We were in the 300 level. We were not going to pay, but you know what? At the end of the day, you can't take it with you.
Yeah.
You can't take it with you. So
there we go.
Anyway, I feel very blessed, and it was a wonderful experience.
Did he do Live and Let Die?
Oh, heck yeah. I put the video on my Facebook page of the fireworks that they did, the pyrotechnics.
All right, come on now.
Fantastic.
I love it, but that is the one song that grammatically drives me crazy. Because
there's always some song drives me crazy.
In this ever-changing world in which we live in, drives me insane.
Now I'm not going to be able to unhear that.
Every time in which we live in. Derdoy. Yes, in which we live.
In which we live. In which we live in. And then boom!
Live and let go.
And then the pyrotechnics.
Yeah. See, I'd be like, all right, great. Grammar nerd over here. We'll
Kathy has a few songs. There's a Bodine song, and it's You and I, or it's supposed to be You and Me, and it's something that rhymes but does.
It's grammatically incorrect.
Yeah, it's grammatically incorrect. But that's the poetic license. That's the way it goes.
Sure. There's
teacher.
Always time for good grammar.
Teacher.
There's always time for good grammar.
Yeah.
And the Oxford comma. Young people get all up, why are you texting so long with all the punctuation? Because it's just grammatically correct when I'm texting somebody.
I do like to have punctuation correct, if at all possible.
Yes.
Not perfect.
There we go. None of us are.
No.
None of us are. We should probably take a little break right now. But before we do that, this part of Out Chicago is brought to you by Team Hochberg. Hey, if you are purchasing a new home or refinancing your existing home, call Team Hochberg, your trusted local lender. Tim called to consolidate his debt and was so happy with David's advice, he left this 5-star Google review. David personally called me regarding my refinance inquiry. After discussing my situation, David determined I'd be better served securing a HELOC instead of refinancing. David then spent considerable time providing valuable guidance and referred me to KCT Credit Union for a HELOC. David's reputation on radio for genuinely helping others, even when there's no direct benefit to him, is well-deserved, and I experienced this firsthand. Thank you, David, for your time and integrity. David thanks Tim for his amazing review and strongly encourages everyone to read Team Hochberg's nearly 600 5-star Google reviews. David helped Tim and thousands of WCPT listeners, but he can't help if you don't call 855-563-2843 or visit the website you know and love, 56david.com. That's 855-563-2843 or visit 56david.com. Lure.com, equal housing lender, NMLS 1124061. We are going to take a quick break, and when we come back, there is more Out Chicago right here on WCPT Heartland Signal.
Hi, this is Renee Taylor. You're listening to Out Chicago, WCPT 820.
Welcome back to Out Chicago. Scott Duff here and Ellen Miller rolling along on this beautiful, beautiful snowy day. I love the snow. I love it so much. It makes me happy.
I'm glad it makes you happy.
I knew it was going to be coming in. So it snowed yesterday, Saturday. So on Friday, I was like, okay, everybody, I obsess about my patio.
Yes.
And I wanted it just to be look really pretty for when my guests arrived and we had Thanksgiving. So we had a very autumnal theme. I might have gone a little overboard this year with pumpkins.
Okay.
So they have been hanging out. I've got 12 different pumpkins all over the patio.
Different colored ones?
Yes, the fantasy pumpkins. They were odd shapes and different colors and some classics. Just for a tasteful arrangement. And with the warmer weather, some of them were getting a little juicy. And I'm going hold up. We need cold.
Turn the other side.
The cold is going to come.
Turn the juicy side against the wall.
It was all, they were all masked. It was great. I'm like, okay, everybody, we got cold weather. They're going to be frozen a little bit. They're going to hang out at least through Thanksgiving. And I'm like, all right, kids. So Friday, I'm like, I know there's snow's coming. So we gotta get rid of the pumpkins.
Because they look weird in the snow.
Well, and also they're just going to hang out in the snow, and I don't want to have to dig them out. You know what I mean? I don't know how long it's going to take for the snow to go away. So, under cloak of darkness, me and two of my friends who are staying with me, we were chunking pumpkins across the street into the woods. Oh. We would run into
for the deer to eat.
For the deer to eat. For just
everybody.
to decompose. And you do it.
That's compost.
Do all that stuff. Yeah, compost right over there. But we want to make sure that nobody saw us.
Yeah.
So we were like, all right, here we go. And we were running across, waiting for cars to pass. And we'd chug them. And they would stay. Whatever. Yeah. Except the very last one, we were running. And they were like, there's a car coming. Go. So we ran. And we were in the woods, in a little wooded area. And then I chucked a pumpkin. And it landed on its side and rolled all the way back right onto Ravenswood. And I was like, oh no. I was just paralyzed. My friend she was a little bit further north of us. She slipped and fell, and she was going oh crap, and as things were happening. And this car just kind of stopped. I was hoping it would go around. So I'm I walked down, grabbed the pumpkin, and went
hi.
Hello.
I know I look like an adult, but I'm reliving my youth right now.
It was such a juvenile delinquent moment.
It is.
It was so much fun. So
that's fun.
Thank you. So now we've got a little pumpkin patch that's going to grow across the street.
It's going to grow. Across the street. Animals will enjoy feasting on that.
Anyway, look, we lost somebody this week. Dr. Carrie Soloway, the Chicago psychiatrist whose gender journey was the inspiration for the show Transparent.
Yeah. Saw that.
Yeah, she passed away at the age 88.
88, so pretty good life.
Yeah. And what a legacy to leave behind. She was, there were several articles that have described her as a reluctant trans icon. Mm-hmm. She took everything in stride because, folks who are fans of the show might not realize that this was based on a true story. Joey Soloway used their own family as inspiration for this show. And they were saying that, Carrie, sometimes she didn't really want to walk the red carpet. And she also was some days she just wasn't up for the task of being your neighborhood trans activist. She wasn't, but she was always there and was always meeting people with grace. She had some words of wisdom for young trans people. She would say, you have a lot of courage and you have to believe in yourself and not worry too much about what the rest of the world feels about you. That's their problem.
Good for her.
And I think it was just a really lovely way to kind of have that start that conversation with folks and to give, because acknowledging the amount of courage that it takes for a trans person to come out.
Indeed.
I mean, she did at age 70.
Yeah. So there you go.
Yeah.
It's never too late for a happy childhood.
Never too late. Yeah. But it's man, oh man, Transparent really was a powerful moment until Jeffrey Tambor muffed it up.
Where he's been nowhere ever since.
We haven't seen him. Yeah. I mean, he was everywhere. But, there were allegations of sexual misconduct that were going on.
Of all the show. I mean, it's just, you're doing a show that you're supposed to be a higher level of consciousness.
Come on, man. Yeah, it's like we can't have nothing nice.
No, what happened?
Can't have nothing
How does that
nice.
happen? How does that happen?
I don't know. Anyway. So thank you, Dr. Carrie Soloway, for
May she rest in peace.
All of the work that she has done in her life. Now, and there's also so tomorrow is December 1st. It is World AIDS Day, and of course, in another act of erasure of marginalized people, the Ding Dong's administration has decreed that the federal government will not observe World AIDS Day.
Are you kidding
this year.
me?
Nope.
I didn't hear that.
Yep. Nope. They will not.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. World AIDS Day has been commemorated on December 1st every year since 1988. Organizations, businesses, and governments around the globe have recognized it. Both Republican and Democratic presidents have held World AIDS Day events or issued proclamations on it. Those include like George W. Bush, Barack Obama, and even Ding Dong during his first term, although he didn't mention LGBTQ plus people at all during that. And last year, President Biden hosted the first White House display of panels from the AIDS Memorial Quilt.
I remember that.
Great.
Made us feel so good about it.
But this year, the State Department has directed employees and grant recipients not to use any federal government funds to observe the day, according to an email viewed by the New York Times columnist Emily Bass. So employees and grantees should, quote, refrain from publicly promoting World AIDS Day through any communication channels, including social media, media engagements, speeches, or other public-facing messaging. They were noting that the government's policy is to, quote, to refrain from messaging on any commemorative days, including World AIDS Day.
Doesn't surprise me, makes me sad. Did you hear his turkey pardoning? That's always kind of a light thing that the White House does over the years. He had the nerve to be up there, goes right to Pritzker and Johnson, goes right to Chicago and Illinois and how horrible they are. And fat and everything else. I mean, just despicable. And he wonders why his approval ratings dropped to 36% and heading down.
Oh, yeah, it's going down. I mean,
as I talked about last week, we have a lot more in common than we don't. We do. And anybody that thinks his behavior, even as something as simple and innocuous as a turkey pardoning press conference thing that's usually just it's just some little light fluffy thing that the news that they pick up, he turns it into vitriol and hate. People are sick of it. We're sick of him. We're sick of all of it. He's losing his mind. He needs to go. At what point are Republicans going to stand up? I think getting primaried is not that big of a threat anymore.
Well, girl, I think Republicans are standing up because they're getting really pissed off about the Department of Defense and
Venezuela
and bombing and going after they had kill orders, and they are now they've announced this weekend that they are going to launch an investigation into Hexeth for war crimes and possible murder.
They need to, because what they're doing is a war crime. It is, if they did that, if another country did that and we had a sane administration, we'd be all over it.
Yep.
It just, and his deal with Ukraine, that is a deal that is horrible. It's direct from Putin's mouth to Zelensky, and I think it's unfair and it's horrible, and can't stand
But there are people in the Republican Party, and they're like I forget which board it was. I'm not going to say it right now because I don't know the title, but it's a bipartisan committee that is launching this thing against the Department of Defense, and there are people, I think Marjorie Taylor Greene kind of started a trend. Even though we know it's like, okay, what are you self-serving?
Right.
But
the fact remains, people are I'm seeing a little chinks in the armor finally with the Republicans staying by him. So let's just hope that they continue to have a conscience, or get a conscience and act on their conscience.
Here's the thing.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk about that. I don't want to, he's been driving everybody crazy, and I just kind of want to, you know what? No, we're not going to talk about you. You're being despicable. You're not acknowledging World AIDS Day, and you're taking away funding for people that, for programs that save lives across the globe, you're gross. So I would like to revisit something that is
Let's
not
do that.
gross.
Yes.
And that it brings people a lot of joy. So we are going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to bring some joy and some nostalgia with a conversation with composer, singer-songwriter Paul Williams. So stick around. You're listening to Out Chicago right here on WCPT, Heartland Signal.
I'm Barb Siska.
And I'm Jessie Perret.
And we're with the Chicago History Museum.
Welcome back to Out Chicago on WCPT.
Welcome back to Out Chicago. Scott Jeff here and Ellen Miller. Look, we are wanting to bring some holiday joy. We're kicking off the holiday season. And a couple years ago, we had the good fortune to speak with singer-songwriter Paul Williams, who was in town for the live stage production of his Christmas show, Emmett Otter's Jugman Christmas. And I cry a lot in this. So grab a hanky if you feel like it. And here's our conversation with Paul Williams.
Okay. I'm going to take slow, deep breaths. He is a singer. I'm probably not even going to be able to get through this introduction. Oh, no. He is a singer, songwriter, author, a Grammy, Golden Globe, and Academy Award winner, and he was a fixture of my childhood, and he is now joining us on the phone. Mr. Paul Williams, welcome to the show.
It's delighted to be here. Thank you for the lovely, lovely introduction. It's fabulous to be here. Life is wonderful.
Well, we're delighted to have you.
Okay, yep, I am already tearing up right here, so I'm going to apologize.
Scott's younger than I am, Paul, so you're a fixture of my adulthood, but you're a fixture of his childhood. So.
Listen, I'm 83. I'm 83. I feel like a tired 34. I've never been more comfortable in my own skin, and more. I'm impressed with my ability to walk through these days with this Jiminy Cricket attitude that I have. Well, the world is just going to it's like I'm wearing a T-shirt that says I'm with the band, and it's got a stack of the books that have been banned, and it's just I have a solid position. I'm going to stay positive no matter what happens.
Good for you. We've got to do that in these dark times for sure.
I mean, look, here's the thing. I mean, you are Paul freaking Williams. Okay, I put up I posted on social media that I had the opportunity to chat with you, and people lost their minds. They were like, "Oh my gosh, please tell him that the Phantom of the Paradise is amazing. Please tell him that the carpet, his work with the Carpenters was incredible." Of course, like the Muppets, I am the Jim Henson lover in me is going insane. Do you ever just sit back and go, whoa, I did that?
You know what? When I was drinking, I'm 33 years sober. When I was drinking, I was quite impressed with how bright I was, and I began to write from that really bright mind, and instead of from the center of the chest, that little kid's place that goes, "Oh God, pick me up and love me." Spent my life writing codependent anthems and everything, and then when I started to get successful, and when I began to, I always joked that alcohol made me big enough to feel like I was big enough to deal with the rest of the world, and cocaine made me feel like I could shoot basketball for money. And there's, when your confidence begins to drift into arrogance, what you begin to create begins to be really impressive to the person who thinks he's creating, and does not really connect with the world around you because you're beginning to disconnect from that world. I will tell you in sobriety, this is the longest answer hopefully you'll get from me today, but I have to tell you that at this point in my life, my name is on all those wonderful, wonderful projects, but I mean, if I backed up the influences and just, that sense of where is this coming from, this is just all a gift. It's the stories, it's the essence of Jim Henson. It's handing me a book, that has this amazing story of Emmett Otter and his ma, and this kind of rewritten, retelling of the Gift of the Magi that is so magical that what I write for, it just pours out of me. So I have a much healthier attitude about all this, and an ego, I think, a little more in check than it used to be. But what you're describing is what I call heart pain. And somebody comes up and says, my mom was a single mom, and You and Me Against the World was an important song to us. For me and for Kenny, and I wrote that song with, we go, oh, God, thank you.
Aww.
Oh, no, Paul Williams, let me tell you, like, I remember sitting down, my mom, okay, sorry, I had a single mom, and the two of us sat down and we watched Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas together, and it gave me all the feels. It's giving me all the feels right now. My husband, it was just telling me about how he would watch Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas, and then he's from Mississippi, and he would go out into the woods, and he would literally just roam the woods as a little child singing the music comes through, and it's right, I know, like, oh my God, could you be any gayer? Like, that was just like the gayest thing on the planet. But it's like your music and your words have a profound effect on people. So let me interrupt and say two things. And this is not going to take hours and all, but I want to say two things. When you start crying, there's a part of my very essence that just reaches out, puts my arms around you and pulls you closer to me, because this is exactly what I need out of this world, is people with open hearts like that. That speaks so much about your strength to me. Aww. That speaks totally about your strength to me. And now I want to brag about the fact that this is out anything. In 1977, before my gay daughter was born, I took out a full-page ad against Anita Bryant in Daily Variety. I took out an ad that said, Mr. and Mrs. Paul Williams, in response to Anita Bryant's crusade, have stopped drinking ... screwdrivers, which is made with orange juice.
Yes.
It was, and when my daughter married her partner managed to find that ad, which my daughter didn't know about, and framed it and gave it to her. And it's on the wall between their bedroom and their kids' bedroom, my grandkids' bedroom. And so for me to be speaking to you, I want you to know that I come to you as feeling as if I'm being enfolded right now by part of my tribe, and I hope that I can always rise to be the kind of advocate that is desperately needed right now in this world.
You have a beautiful and open heart, and it's evident from the start by the kind of music you have and songs you have penned over the years. So you've put it out there for people, and people like Scott and so many in the world have felt your open heart, Paul. So we thank you for that.
Thank you. And I feel just right back.
Paul, you've written so many iconic songs in your prolific career. One of my very favorites is We've Only Just Begun.
Yes!
And it has an amazing origin story. And I have a feeling a lot of our listeners don't know that story about how the Carpenters ended up turning it into one of the all-time great pop songs of our lifetimes. Can you share that origin story of We've Only Just Begun?
I love talking about Karen and Richard. I mean, they changed my world. I started writing in 1967 with a guy named Roger Nichols. I met him through another guy named Biff Rose. Roger and I started writing for about 4 years. We wrote songs that were recorded. They were album cuts. They were B-sides. We never heard anything on the radio. I mean, it was like, are we ever going to hear it? And, when you're in your 20s, 3 years is like a lifetime. So it's like, that's it. We were making a great living. Nobody knew who we were. And all of a sudden, one day, there's a knock on Roger's office door. We have both right offices at A&M Records. And it's Herb Alper, and he says, I want to introduce you to A&M's newest recording artist, Herb. These are the Carpenters, Richard and Karen. And they looked at us and they said, "Oh my God, we love your recording of Trust by the Peppermint Trolley Company, and Steve Lawrence's Drifter is great." It's like they knew, and we were like, "Oh my God, we're famous! We're famous! Somebody actually knows who we are." And that was the beginning of our relationship. And Roger and I wrote a song. It was on the B side of Close to You, but it was the B side. It was not the single. And we desperately, anything we wrote, we would want to show it to Karen and Richard to get to your story about. We've only just begun, had all the romantic beginnings of a bank commercial. Roger and I were writing, and a friend of his was a great lyricist named Tony Asher. Tony Asher wrote the lyrics that God only knows for Brian Wilson, a great writer,
great song.
And Tony had the job to write this song for a commercial. It was very different. There was no pitch. It was just going to show a young couple getting married, driving off into the sunset after the ceremony, the kiss, the ceremony, driving off into the sunset, and it said, "You got a long way to go. We'd like to help you get there to the Crocker Bank." Tony Asher went out and went skiing and broke his hand. He was on pain pills. He said, "I'm loopy. I can't do this. I recommended you and Roger." And I said, "I don't want to write a bank commercial." Roger said, "Come on, let's try." I said, "I don't want to write a bank commercial." He said, "There's a creative fee." I said, "Let's write this bank commercial."
Yeah.
And of course, so we wrote probably in an afternoon. I think it took us maybe a couple of hours. He came up with the music, and I wrote the lyrics. And we completed it as a complete song just in case anybody was going to want to record it. Understand, at the time, the number one album in the country was Inagata Davida. So this was not a song that was probably going to get recorded. This was not a song that was ever going to be a single, and this was certainly not a song that was going to be a major hit. And that all changed when An Angel sang it, because Richard recognized my voice on the commercial, called and said, "Is there a complete song?" We said, "Yeah, funny you should ask." And when they recorded it, and when we heard it the first time, oh my God, we looked at each other and went, "Is anybody else going to hear how beautiful this is, what we're hearing?" And it turned out that everybody
they
did.
sure
It was
did.
a life changer. Oh my God.
And still do, still do to this day. It's a wonderful song. Thank you for that song, Paul.
Oh, I know. Thank you for all the music. We have been sitting here listening to the past week. We have just been on a Paul Williams kind of overload, especially as we're getting ready for heading into the holidays here in Chicago with Emmett Otter's jug band Christmas. Now, you had worked with Jim Henson, I believe, on The Muppet Show, and then you had an opportunity to write the music, the words of the music for Emmett Otter's jug band Christmas. Is that how that collaboration began?
Yeah, exactly. I showed up in England to do the first season of The Muppet, and it was like I was a huge fan. I mean, from every morning on the road with my band, we'd watch Sesame Street, and Bert and Ernie taught us which forks to look to use. I was a huge fan, and I mean a fan of Jim's all the way back to the Ed Sullivan Show with the Slinkies and the Mana and all that. Yep. But I never, there's a tree house in Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas, and the kids are up, the guys, the jug band is practicing up in that tree, and I never had a tree house experience as a kid until I met Jim Henson. And when I walked on the set of the Muppet movie, and I met all the guys, all the Muppet performers, it was like all of a sudden I'm in the tree house. The level of humor is amazing. The hearts are open and large and accepting, and it was just wow. And Jim asked me, he handed me the book of Emmett Otter, and he said, "There's a script being written right now. We're going to do a 1-hour special. Would you write the songs, words and music?" And I did. And it's interesting because the songs are very Americana, and it's not really what I was writing, but the story spoke to me. Jim's energy is in anything and everything I've written that had anything to do with the Muppets, including the Muppet Christmas Carol, which was written. I wrote words and music for that after Jim had passed. But he is absolutely in every word. I feel his presence.
And
Paul, look at the birds up a tree. We're not birds. We're a jug band.
Scott forgot to mention something. You buried the lead. Scott, tell Paul what you named your dog.
Oh, my dog is named Emmett Otter.
That was one of the first things shared with me when I heard about it today. I said, "Oh my God, that's wonderful." Well,
yeah,
and I wound up with guinea pigs because they look so much like otters. I get it.
I love it. I love it. Yeah. So. He's great. He's in a jug band. He's doing a good job.
What could be wrong? He's in a jug band.
I know. When we got him, he was kind of pancakey and slinky against the sides of the wall, and he's so very sweet and so very earnest. I'm like, oh my gosh, you're Emmett Otter. So that's where it came from. Again, my husband wants me to personally thank you for where the
that's wonderful.
See, it's such music, and this is.
It's what I call a heart payment. To find out that you're petting somebody named Emmett every day, it's a heart payment. I love it.
It is. I love that.
Okay, so holding it together. So as you were transitioning, because it was this amazing, clearly had a profound effect on me as a child, you're taking this beloved television special and adapting it for the stage. Have there been any challenges, or was that more for, the puppeteers? Because, my songs are golden. There we go.
Well, it's interesting because I get this feeling sometimes in just my life in general that somebody's whispering to us every now and then. It's just this just began with Tim McDonald, who loved Emmett Otter and always believed that it should be it would make a great stage musical. A few additional songs and with humans playing in the puppet roles, but also having the original Muppets and all there. So he loved the idea, and he also loved Chris Catelli's work, and he was a big fan of Chris, and he invited Chris to lunch, and he sat down, and he said, "I'd love to do something with you. Is there anything that you'd really love to do that you haven't done?" And he said, "Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas," and it was like, boing, the sun came out, and all of a sudden, I had a bit of a background with the Goodspeed Theater because I'd been doing developing Happy Days, a musical with Gary Marshall at the Goodspeed, and it just seemed to fall into place. And we did a couple of Christmases in a row up at the Goodspeed, and then and it finally made it to New York. And when it made it to New York in 2020, it had grown up to be a really wonderful staged musical. And we had it's like I couldn't have written better reviews. God bless the New York Times and everybody that saw it said all these wonderful things. And of course, like everybody else, we got closed by COVID. Mm-hmm. The actors, I never saw. I'm so sad. Oh. I never saw it in New York because I was in my hotel room testing positive every day for about 2 weeks, and by the time I was negative, they closed it. So this is the first time I've seen it since the Goodspeed is here at the Studebaker, which is a great place to see it.
Do you have a favorite moment in Emmett Otter?
Well, there's this spiritual presence of Otter, who is not in the original. They talk about Paul Otter and Paul's favorite song, "When the River Meets the Sea," and all, and there are two moments in the musical that are really special to me. One is when they, at the end of it, and not to give anything away to anyone who haven't seen it, but when Ma and Emmett both enter a contest trying to buy presents in New York, beautiful Christmas presents for each other, and they lose. Walking back, there is this wonderful moment when two things occur. One is that they realize that the two songs that they've been singing work really beautifully together, and they sing them together and get hired at the Doc Bullfrog's Tavern.
Doc Bullfrog.
So I love that moment of how no becomes a gift, which has been solid in my life. And the other thing is when the river river meets the sea will always have such a special meaning for me because right after the Muppet movie, Jim passed and they performed When the River Meets the Sea at his memorial, and it's just a song that is about just the gifts of Jim Henson's life and all the philosophy and the caring and the elegance of kindness that is the thing that survives, I think, most powerfully in Jim's memory. So those moments are really serious, and there's actually a song now that I've added to the score that the ghost of Paul Otter sings to Alice when she's thinking to herself that you're just a foolish old dreamer. And he sings, Alice, keep dreaming. I'm right here beside you. I'm close as the sun when it's warm in your fur. I'm with you in spirit. When the wind blows, you'll hear it whispering, Alice, my own. Keep the faith, girl. You're never alone. I hope you'll come and see it. Your listeners will come and see it because it's one of my favorite moments ever to have that spirit. It feels absolutely like Jim Henson. And did I make anybody cry?
Yeah, Scott's crying, and I'm about to cry.
Gosh, I'm a mess over here.
This show is perfect.
I love you, Paul.
This show is perfect for these times. It really is. This is what we need. A show like this.
Oh, lovely. Thank you.
Well, thank you.
True. And thank you for carrying on the legacy of the elegance of kindness.
Yes.
And thank you for the music, and thank you for the love. And several people have also been like, thank you for being so open about your road with recovery and sobriety. You really have been a guidepost for so many people, and you've touched so many folks.
Oh, I'm nothing but grateful, and Scott, I'm nothing but grateful, and I think that the gratitude and generosity are fuel. I think if anybody feels like their life is a little bogged down, go out and do something in service to another human being and watch everything get better.
Amen to that, Paul.
There you go. Amen to that. All right. I'm going to pull myself together so I can do this outro. Make sure that you check out Emmett Otter's Chuck Bank Christmas at Chicago's historic Studebaker Theater. It's running through December 31st and officially opens tomorrow. So break a tail. It features songs by the legendary Paul Williams. If you want to find out, get some tickets, go to fineartsbuilding.com/Studebaker. Paul Williams, again, thank you so much for just making my day.
It's a
you guys come and say hi. Just come and come and grab me by the nape of the neck and say, "Come here," and give me a big hug. I really look forward to it.
I will, but I've got COVID.
He's got COVID. He's not in the studio. But
oh my God!
Are you going to be in town for a little, or are you just going to be here for tomorrow?
I'm going. I actually just spent this weekend. I just got back. I was here. I spent the weekend in Berkshire at a museum where they did a retrospective. I'm going to go home to Huntington Beach for about a week and everything. I'll be back, I think, on the 6th. I'll be here for about 5 days with my kids and grandkids coming in to see it as well. So hopefully you'll be testing negative by then and can come and we can say hi and break bread or something.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Oh my gosh, that's great. I'll give you my number, Paul. Can I call you Paul?
Well, okay. Yeah, you know what? You've got my number, and please use it. Shoot me a text, and I'll get you all the contact information.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Oh my gosh,
he will love that.
Here. All right, Paul Williams, go and be magical.
Thank you, Paul Williams. We love having you with us.
I love you all. You have made my day. God bless.
God bless you too.
God bless you
Thanks,
too.
Paul.
All right, make sure again. Emmett Otter's Chuck Bank Christmas is playing at the Studebaker Theater. Paul Williams, thank you. We got to take a break, and there's more out of Chicago right after this.
I told you I was going to be a weepy mess through that whole thing. And make sure that you got to go out there, and if you're ever in the dumps, go out and do something in service of another person. So take that as we go to a break. There's more out Chicago right after this.
I'd like to welcome you to WCPT AM's Out Chicago. Think of us as Sunday brunch with your gay best friends. Now please welcome your host, Scott Duff.
Welcome back to the second hour of Out Chicago. Scott Duff here, along with Ellen Miller, rolling along, singing a song.
Side by side.
There we go. Yeah. We got a great little hour planned for you. There's going to be a lot of singing and sings of songs.
There is.
It's happening a little bit.
Not by us, thank God.
Not by yes. We will spare you that. A little bit later on, we are going to be speaking with very prominent, in-demand opera singer turned conductor Christine Brandeis. She is she's conducting the Chicago Opera Theater's highly anticipated Chicago premiere of Falstaff. We're going to chat with her a little bit later on this show. Oh, hey, also just to let you know, this week on Choose Views, Richard Chu's guests will include retired Army General Russell Honore, North Carolina Democratic Party Chair Anderson Clayton, Ohio Congresswoman Amelia Sykes, and Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson, plus Choose Views regulars Sarah Jones, Mike Nellis, Dante King, and Karen Byrne. That's Choose Views, weekdays from 6 to 8 a.m. Central on WCPT 820 a.m., the Heartland Signal website, TuneIn, YouTube, and Facebook. But right now, today, at this very moment, we are very, very lucky because Season of Concern, an organization that is near and dear to my heart. It is Chicago's nonprofit dedicated to providing financial assistance to all Chicagoland theater practitioners impacted by illness, injury, and circumstance. And as we roll into the holidays and set to commemorate, we're commemorating World AIDS Day, even if the White House isn't. That's tomorrow. They are offering up several special events during this holiday season. And joining us now is Managing Director of Season of Concern, Chris Pasternak. Chris, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. Thanks for coming back.
Always good to have you.
Always good to see you. Hey, just for folks who might not be as familiar, can you tell a little bit about the history of Season of Concern?
Certainly. So Season of Concern was started in the late 80s as a response to the AIDS crisis that was impacting so many of our theater workers. In fact, it was the name comes from the fact that all the theaters banded together in 1986 to help fundraise for folks afflicted with AIDS or AIDS-related illnesses for a season of change. As we know from history, it took a little bit longer than that, but that's where the name comes from. And over time, as new medications sort of changed the face of AIDS, the mission of the organization expanded to cover any kind of illness or injury or other circumstance that puts folks, at risk.
Yeah, and that is one of the best things about Chicago, our true sense of community, of going out and helping our folks and also appreciating the value of theater folks to this city. You might, if you do go to a theater event, you might be, especially during the holidays, you might see folks out there from the cast out there with a bucket. So can you tell a little bit about the theater fundraisers that happens annually?
Sure, yeah. So very similar to Broadway Cares that collects, at Broadway shows or national tours, Season of Concern does the same thing, partnering with Chicago theater companies. So the bulk of the financial assistance that we're able to give comes from these audience collections after a show. So right now, if you check out Christmas Carol at the Goodman or Amadeus at Steppenwolf, just two examples, they'll be collecting after the show, and that money goes directly to us being able to grant financial assistance to folks who need it.
Christopher, do you find it challenging that we are in so many years from when Seasons of Concern, started, when we were in of course, the horrible crisis of AIDS? And is there pushback today of people saying, hey, do I really need to contribute to this? I mean, isn't this under control? Is that an issue you have to deal with on a regular basis, or are people more understanding of where we're at and that we still need the help?
Yeah, I think it's at this point it's a more of a misconception than pushback. It's just getting people to know that yes, because the face of AIDS has changed, the organization has evolved along with it. Because let's be honest, there's never a good time to be a starving artist, right? It's a very precarious. It's a very precarious position to be in. I was actually just reading, University of Chicago actually did a study about artists' lives and their livelihood, and they said 57% of artists reported being somewhat or very worried about being able to afford food, housing, medical care, or utilities. And so when you're living on such a, slim margin, all it takes is one emergency, right? One trip to the hospital, one car accident or whatever to really push you over the brink. And that's, the gap that Season of Concern seeks to fill, because it could be anything, right? Not just AIDS.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
no, for sure.
Yeah, and that is one of the things that I'm so proud of Season of Concern, again, for evolving their mission to just be anything that can be catastrophic. And I love that you pointed out that study, because, man, being an artist, it ain't for sissies.
It's up a lot.
It's really hard. And, just in terms of, especially like if you are fortunate to have a union, you still have to work a certain amount of time, like a certain number of weeks in order to qualify for your insurance. So it's a great resource that Season of Concern can come in and fill in those gaps, because sometimes you're just shy of, like, you're 1 week short, but even getting like 6 months of insurance. So it's such a huge thing. And I'm so proud of the work that you all do. And I know this holiday season, along with the traditional, the buckets, and that kind of was like, full disclosure to listeners out there, I used to work with Season of Concern, and I loved this time of year. It was very busy, but you're going around to all the theaters, and the theaters are like in competition with each other about who can raise the most money. So when you see people with the bucket, but in addition to all of the audience asks and the buckets, there are a bunch of other events that are happening this year with Season of Concern.
Yeah, we're really fortunate. There's a number of different performers and organizations that have offered to do some holiday programming where the proceeds will benefit us. That launches tomorrow with World AIDS Day Cabaret from Lakeside Pride's Wild Cabaret performing group. That's at Sidetrack. And then tomorrow and Tuesday, Chicago Cabaret professionals have a program at a new music venue to check out that's all holiday-themed music. Gary Thomas, who does a Frank Sinatra act later in the month. Beautiful City Project performing at the Understudy in Andersonville. You can get all the details about these on our website, seasonofconcern.org. But the one I'm most excited about is the one that I'm doing just for fun. Two really great Chicago comedic actresses, Veronica Garza and Leah Morrow, were doing a staged reading of the female version of The Odd Couple, which should be a good time.
And where will that happen?
That'll be at Theater Wit on Tuesday, December 16th. They're kindly donating the theater to us for a night. It'll be a free event, but we'll take up a collection for a Season of Concern. And honestly, it just stemmed from me seeing them in shows and thinking, gosh, they're never going to put these two women on stage together. It would be too much funny. And I thought, well, we're never afraid of too much funny in Chicago, are we?
Never.
Well, also just speaking of Theater Wit, hats off to you, my friend, for opening up Whose Holiday. I'm telling you,
the third year for it?
Chris Pasternak does everything. Like he's always on the go. Like, look out! Like, you just directed Whose Holiday. How do you find the time?
Well, this is our fifth year.
And, oh, my God. I was there the opening night for the first year. Time flies.
With Veronica Garza.
Yes, with Veronica Garza.
It's astonishing how much of the show she just retains in muscle memory. So honestly, we only really rehearse a few days, have a day of tech and call it done, because she really doesn't need a whole lot of reviewing. So we, come up with a few new bits, maybe a new song every other year, and it's a really fun tradition, and I'm happy to share that our closing performance of that will also be a benefit for Season of Concern.
Excellent. So for people like me, Christopher, who saw it, 5 years ago when it started, how different would it be today? Just a few little songs, like you said, or has it evolved in any other ways that I'm curious about?
Well, she got a new costume this year, so that's new.
Okay.
A new song. A lot of the audience interaction bits we usually tend to change up each year because, just to reference what's going on or to make things fresh for people who do come back. But the heart of the show and the story about, finding the redemption in yourself over the holiday season has not changed. And that's the thing that keeps me coming back every year, because I think sometimes we can be the hardest on ourselves, especially at this time of year. And watching someone like Cindy go through that process, I think, is actually more meaningful than you think when you see the show full of, when the show starts with a whole bunch of four-letter words and raunchy innuendo.
This one is not for the kiddies.
You don't expect yourself. Yeah, not for the kiddies. But I don't think you expect it to be crying by the end, and every year never fails.
No, that's great. And so people that have seen it before, please come back, because you will see nothing like it on stage.
That is true.
In Chicago this holiday season. I guarantee
if you're looking
for
an alternative,
yes,
for your holiday viewing.
Yes,
this
is it.
Where is this? You said there's a new music venue. You said the Checkout.
Where's that? Yeah.
Okay, so it's on Clark Street, just north of Wrigleyville, and it is an old 7-Eleven. That's how the venue got its name.
We did see that. Aren't they? They're playing jazz there, right? Is it kind of a jazz spot or something, or?
They're doing it's pretty eclectic in terms of live music. I've seen jazz stuff programmed there, classical music. This is a cabaret group, Chicago Cabaret Professionals. So I think it's one venue that is trying to replace the absence of places like Davenport's in the community. So a little bit of everything, and they have a fun Manhattan slushie in honor of the building's original purpose.
I love that.
That's funny. I love that.
That's amazing. And speaking of amazing, again, Chris, I can't say enough amazing things about you, because along with your work with Season of Concern, you are a tireless advocate for folks living with HIV/AIDS. Your annual cabaret show, Belting for Life. You've done that as we are commemorating, again, as we are, because the administration decided that they are not going to be commemorating World AIDS Day. Why is it so important to help remove the stigma behind the disease, to help tell everybody, as we're moving forward with this disease? Why is it so important to keep telling this story?
I think because, for me, a driver is all of the people who we lost early on. I feel like I have a debt to repay to a lost generation of people, that if we can make it a better place for those living with AIDS and HIV today, then I feel I have a deep sense of obligation to, queer folks that I never even met, because otherwise, what were they fighting for if not to find a better place? And as you say, because there is still the stigma, it is still the sort of, a chronic illness that is not, you're not supposed to talk about in polite company, and it's butting up against everything else we're seeing with this administration, right? Homophobia, transphobia, it's all kind of wrapped in this sort of antiquated way of thinking. And so I think as long as there are people out there who haven't gotten on the train yet, we gotta keep moving forward.
And I would be remiss not to mention my friend, who was one of the originators and founders, Larry Sloan. Larry was a friend. He was with Remains Theater, and he did pass away, sadly, from HIV/AIDS many years ago. But I remember when he told us about Season of Concern all those years ago, and just, as you said, there's people that have gone before you, Christopher, that you never met. You probably didn't meet Larry, I'm guessing, because it was.
No.
But he was a force, and I just like to keep his memory alive because he was a special guy who got this started.
Season of Concern actually gives out a Larry Sloan Award annually,
yes.
so which is really great. So again, Christopher Pasternak, you just do so much good for Chicago and beyond. So I want to thank you for your artistic work, your activist work, and also your work with Season of Concern. So this holiday season, if you are out and about and attending a show, and they come out and give a little speech at the very end, you'll see some nice cast members holding buckets as you leave. Throw in some money because it really does, like as you were saying, 57% of artists and theater makers deal with financial insecurity, and during this time of year, it can really help. Yes. So thank you for all that you do. And if you want to find out more information about all of the events that are going on, go see Too Much Funny on One Stage. Head to seasonofconcern.org. Chris Pasternak, I want you to enjoy this lovely snowy day.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thanks so much for having me.
Of course.
Always. Thanks, Christopher.
All righty. We got to take a quick break, and when we come back, there's more Out Chicago right here on WCPT Heartland Signal.
Hey, this is Mark Patton, and I'm from Spring Clean My Nightmare on Elm Street, and you're listening to Out Chicago.
Hey, welcome back to Out Chicago. Scott Duff here, along with Ellen Miller. And just to let you know, Monday on Live, Local, and Progressive, Joan Esposito will be talking to Tamar Jacoby, director of the New Ukraine Project and the Progressive Policy Institute, Melissa Bean, Democratic candidate for Congress in the 8th District of Illinois, Project 50's Senior Advisor Terry Cosgrove, Dr. Roger A. Mitchell Jr., forensic pathologist and president of the National Medical Association, and Stacy Kess, founding editor-in-chief of editorial at Equal Access Public Media. Live, Local, and Progressive, weekdays from 2 to 5 p.m. Central on WCPT, Chicago's Progressive Talk for 20 years. So make sure you tune into that tomorrow, and stay tuned in right now because Chicago Opera Theater presents the highly anticipated premiere of Falstaff. There's other words after that are Italian that I can't say, by composer Antonio Salieri, which is, again, it's kind of perfect timing because Steppenwolf's production of Amadeus, which if you aren't know, it tells the story of the rivalry between Salieri and Mozart. Perfect timing here. And joining us now is renowned opera singer turned conductor, Christine Brandis. Christine, welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you. I don't know how renowned, but I certainly got around.
You are renowned, and I love a gal that gets around. So congratulations. But you were an opera singer. Now you are a conductor. What was the moment that you knew that opera was your thing?
Oh, that opera was my thing. Oh, wow. I don't know. I knew opera was kind of my thing when I was a kid. Like, I was in a production of, like, the first opera I ever had anything to do with was an opera I was in. I was in the children's chorus for a production of Carmen. And, I was just sort of amazed by, like, the complexity of it and all the moving parts and, drama. And I was like, I don't know, 12. But, at that time when you're 12, at least for me, I was a super late bloomer. And being a singer, an opera singer, was super not on my radar. And also, like, the nature of what everybody expects opera singing to be was just not what my voice was going to do. Right. And then, later on I found sort of, all things I've sort of, if you'll pardon the expression, come in through the back door, coming into singing, I came into singing opera singing through the door of early music, and where, you weren't expected to sound like a Wagnerian and, giant vibrato and all that.
So what is, can you explain to us, what is early music?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so any music, certainly before Mozart. And I would say that many sort of like hardcore mainstream opera singers think of Mozart as kind of early music in a way, meaning not full on like Verdi, Puccini, like just all out, where the writing is different. It requires a slightly lighter touch in the singing generally. So like for me, my entry drug was Handel operas.
Okay.
And so, like, this time of year, everybody knows Handel for the Messiah, which is a fabulous piece. But he wrote just barn-burning, fabulous operas. He also wrote some stinkers, but it's like amazing, truly virtuosic music. I mean, it is really kind of like when you hear somebody singing a Handel aria that is really good at it. I mean, it's like watching someone in the Olympics. Yeah. And going to the opera was a little like going to the Olympics in the 18th century. I mean, there was that element of like expectation. Is she going to land the triple axel? Right. And then like a little sidebar of like bloodless, like, ooh, is she going to fall down? So anyway,
I love that. Yeah, Sarah, thank you for that explanation. But I love that that was like your entryway into it.
Yeah.
So, go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Okay. So you eventually found your way onto the opera stage as a singer, had a very lovely career. As you said, you got around, which fantastic for that. But what was your transition from singer to conductor?
I was teaching at a university. I was running the opera program, which meant I was sort of directing and designing operas, and the university orchestra conductor would conduct the shows. And I went to him one fall and said, hey, in the spring I'm planning on doing Handel's Alcina, which is about this amazing badass sorceress who has her own island, and she seduces men to come to the island. She makes mad passion love to them. When she's done with them, she turns them into wild animals, and they just roam the landscape. And so he said, "Oh, I'll be on sabbatical, and they'll have to hire someone to conduct." And I thought, sung this opera, I know it, I'll conduct it.
Okay.
And of course, So then, of course, I quickly learned that knowing an opera and really knowing an opera, two really different things. But I mean, it was I can fix a tire. Really? Can I fix a tire?
Right.
And so then I enlisted the help of, a couple of friends who are really good conductors. And, but once I was in, and I was really bitten by the bug. And I realized that, after my first professional engagement, I got to the end of the first performance, and I had one of those crazy aha moments unbidden. And I thought, oh my God, I have been on my way to this moment in my life for my entire life without knowing it.
I love that.
Which is a very cool thing, where if you start thinking, then you're just oh, and then there was this thing that happened and that thing that happened, and all the puzzle pieces drop into this order out of what seems to be the slightly rando, free-form chaos of your own life. And then all of a sudden it's oh no, actually all of those little funny moments all formed this arrow pointing in this direction.
That's amazing, and I love that moment of clarity.
Yeah, Kristen, how does your experience as a performer inform your your experience as a conductor?
Well, it's a really good question. I hope it makes me more flexible and more compassionate on the podium. I've certainly had the experience of conductors being, stroppy and insistent and just not aware of what the challenges are. And so, yeah, that's my hope that I show up for the singers in maybe a different way. Also, just energetically, what to give. Some people need more from the pit, and how to just vibe people in the right way, in the right places.
Do you ever have a feeling I want to jump up there and just sing that myself?
Oh my God, no! Absolutely not.
Okay, good to know.
I mean, right now, I've got a really terrible cold, and I'm the lady baritone, and I'm holy Lord, thank God, I do not have to worry about this anymore.
Right.
Good.
Well, I love that you were talking about, there's a difference between really knowing an opera and really knowing an opera. With that first experience, what have you discovered have been the major differences of understanding from the conductor, from the orchestra pit? What is a skill that you're this is what I'm honing in on?
Oh, that's such a good question. I think a lot of it that has been, on my learning curve has been about both clarity and clarity in the telegraphing, telegraphing ever so slightly ahead of time, if there's a change in dynamic, if something's short and sprightly and then turns gooey and connected, anticipating how to show a rhythmic moment that might be a little complicated, how to anticipate and clarify what people need at any point. And, weirdly, one of the hardest things, especially at the beginning, was oh my God, what to do with fermatas. So a fermata is when fermare is to stop, right? And it's literally when there's this little bird's eye in the score and everything comes to a crashing halt. And it's usually that you're waiting for a singer to make up a cadenza or have a moment. And it's the getting in and out of that and the micromanaging of that time, both in terms of reading how much time the singer's going to take, how much time they need for the breath that follows, whatever vapors they've been having, and then how to indicate and okay, band, here we go, getting back in.
Getting back in, yeah. Are you just exhausted by the end of the opera? I mean, because it is not. It is a full contact sport.
Oh, totally. Yeah. It is. I am toast. And it's interesting. It's not that it is so physically exhausting, although it is, because I'm in constant motion for a couple of hours. But it's the sort of mental and emotional thing that's hard. It's the concentration is so absolute, and also just the emotional thing, and not only riding the emotion of what all the affects are and what we're all of the emotional zones we're going in and out of in the piece, but also navigating my own emotional landscape, trying to be okay, chill, you do not need to freak out about this, you can just let that go, it's wild. It's really wild.
Yeah, look, all of you musician type people who can actually just pick up music and actually hear the music just from reading it off the page. My brain just does not work like that. I'm always like, I'm not worthy. I'm not worthy. I bow down. So I can only imagine what it's like to put yourself through, to go through an entire opera, because you were also there to help with the tone, all those things that you were saying. But what is your collaboration with a director like? Because you two seemed like it would work hand in hand.
Yeah, absolutely. That's how it goes. And so initially with we have, 3 weeks or more of staging rehearsals. And in that process, it's really my job to be there to listen. Of course, I'm sort of managing the sort of straight up musical stuff, but a lot of musical stuff is influenced by choices that are made by the director and by the singers. And so making sure that my understanding of pace, where we take time, where we move ahead, that all of that syncs up with the direction, and now that we're on the stage, making sure that all of this works in concert with all of just the straight up physical technical stuff.
Yeah,
because you have to coordinate comedic timing with this show.
Yeah, especially with
totally.
with Falstaff. The opera. What's the rest of the title?
Oh, gosh, I don't know what the rest of the title is. I just call it Falstaff.
Great. We'll just call it Falstaff, too. But it's inspired by...
Yeah.
Oh, there we are. It's inspired by, Shakespeare's Merry Wives of Windsor. So what drew you to this piece?
Well, I was... nothing drew me to this piece except the opportunity to come to Chicago. So, the Chicago Opera Theater reached out to my manager and said, hey, would Chris be available to come and conduct this? And, my manager called and said, hey, COT would like you to conduct Falstaff. And of course, I thought they meant Verdi's Falstaff, which is the famous Falstaff. Mm-hmm. And he said, ... by Salieri. And I was like, ugh. Okay, sure. Whatever. But
what difference does it make?
But I am so happy to announce that I am massively in love with this piece. It is a very good opera. And I'm just here to tell you, fake news is not new. Salieri gets such a bum rap. The whole Amadeus thing, yada, yada, yada. It's all BS. It is truly fake news.
Right.
And, it's a really good piece. It's super fun. It's beautiful music. There are super titles, so you'll understand every gag. This production is set kind of in what might closely resemble season 2 of White Lotus.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's set, instead of being, Falstaff being this sort of fat, gross guy in a pub, our Falstaff is a young, handsome, sexy pants guy who's a grifter. And he comes to this very fancy pants resort, on an unknown island. And he's, grifting at this fancy resort. And it's a brilliant concept for this show, and it works really well. It sits well on the people we have singing, and it's super fun.
I love that. And who doesn't like a sexy pants Falstaff? Come on.
And it's 200 years old and still resonates with people, which is interesting, right?
Oh, yeah, totally. But that's, this is like the genius of anything that's I feel like anything that's based on Shakespeare or anything that's based on mythology, right? These enduring stories that have an eternal resonance because they get down to the essence of all of the glories and all of the foibles of being a human. And,
that doesn't change.
Who hasn't, yeah, exactly. Who hasn't been greedy? Who hasn't been lusty,
Who hasn't been evil?
Yeah, well, exactly. Yeah, exactly. And I mean, look at all of these enormous franchises of films and TV shows that are, built out of either Greek mythology or Norse mythology. Because there are all of these eternal truths. And I mean, this is why we have art. We get to see aspects of ourselves reflected back to us, and we get to think a little more deeply about how we go through the world, I think, sometimes in these contexts. And, we reflect on our own stuff. And, and it takes us a little apart from the cray-cray land that we're living in right now.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. I mean, this just sounds amazing. And look, you want to make sure if you want to looking for something really wonderful to do during the holidays, as you said, it is not a very long opera. It is also a fun opera. And if you want to escape to Italy and see a hot, sexy baby Falstaff, don't miss the Chicago premiere of Falstaff, presented by Chicago Opera Theater, December 3rd through the 7th. At the historic Studebaker Theater in the Fine Arts Building on Michigan Avenue. For information and for tickets, go to chicagooperatheater.org, and that's theater, E-R. Christine Brandis, thank you so much for taking time out with us. I hope you feel better and your cold goes away so you can survive the run. Because, again, it is a workout for you.
Yeah. It's super fun to talk with you guys. Thanks.
Thank you for being with us.
And toy, as they say.
Thanks. As they say.
And also, as we say, we've got to take a break. And when we come back, it is the final thrilling, show-stopping moments about Chicago right here on WCPT Heartland Signal.
Because facts matter. You are listening to WCPT 820.
Welcome back to Out Chicago on Chicago's Progressive Talk. Can I get you another Bellini?
Oh, yes, please. It's a little gray out there.
It's gray again?
It's a little gray again right now, but that's okay. I went out and I had to go fill my water bottle.
Yeah.
Took a little peek outside.
Give us the weather report.
There we go. There we go. Hey, also, if you haven't already, you can follow Heartland Signal on X, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and Threads at Heartland Signal, one word. And be sure to check heartlandsignal.com for daily updates. And also, because of the 2026 midterm election, can't come soon enough.
Yeah.
Please.
Can't be tomorrow, please.
Still give a leave romance through a full year.
Yeah. 25% down. That way.
Oh, maybe it'll be 50% down. You know what I mean? Because I have a feeling he's going to... Anyway, WCPT has already begun interviewing candidates and posting the audio on our website. Visit heartlandsignal.com/candidates to hear and share the latest interviews, including our recent conversation with candidate for Congress, Mike Simmons. So find the candidate interviews tab at the top of our website, heartlandsignal.com. But I also want to do put a throw out there.
Sure.
So we've got out of town guests, and we have folks who haven't really this is only her second time to Chicago. Mm-hmm. So we went to the Art Institute on Friday, which y'all. I don't know. I've got to scrape together enough money just to become a really good member there, because it is just one of the most magical places.
Every time I go, why do I wait so long
in between visits? Yeah. And right now, there is this exhibit that's going on by an artist called Elizabeth Catlett. The exhibition's called A Black Revolutionary Artist and All That It Implies. And it is phenomenal.
Okay. Do you know how long it's going?
I'm on the website right now. Can't see. Through January 4th.
Okay, so there's time.
It's been good. There's time, and it's also very, very timely. Not only is she a Black American, she had moved to Mexico and she became a Mexican citizen. So she is both an American and Mexican, and a lot of her work is so political, and there's these beautiful Angela, the activist, civil rights
Angela Davis?
Yes. Mm-hmm. There's like beautiful portraits of Angela Davis and her work with the Black Panthers. She also does a whole lot of she jumps medium. So she does painting, she does sculpture. It's incredible.
Oh, I didn't know about that.
So again, that's going to be Elizabeth Catlett, a Black revolutionary artist, and all that it implies. It is It is fantastic. Oh, yeah.
Thank you for that.
And also to brag on Chicago, we've got our own Pope Leo, who recently came out to say that his favorite movie is It's a Wonderful Life. And
he's got good taste.
I happen to agree with him. It's one of my favorite films of all times, and I know, and there are a lot of, actually, strangely, a lot of think pieces that are being written about It's a Wonderful Life right now, just in terms of, the Bailey building and loan and Mr. Potter, and clearly the representation. I mean, he looks like Ding Dong, or Ding Dong is morphing into him. There's just something about this corporate greed that is taking over, and the small businessman.
It's a theme that apparently never dies.
Yeah, but it's resonating with folks in a huge way. All I wanted to do last night was watch that movie again. People were getting tired. I'm like, all right, well, I'm going to start watching it. I love that movie.
I love that movie, too.
I love that movie.
I love being back. It brings you back to a different era before both of us were born, long before. And insight. And there's so many, but there's, like we talked about with Christine, there's some things that just never change, in the human experience, and it's interesting to see them in a simpler time, and how they're represented, and everything from the courtship to his dealings with Mr. Potter. There's a lot to relate to in that movie, and the holidays being difficult for some people. It just stands the test of time. And as you know, that movie, when it came out, was not that big of a hit.
I know, which I don't understand, because both Jimmy Stewart, he's so handsome in there. Donna Reed.
I loved her.
Girl, Donna Reed.
I loved her show, too, after that.
I love Donna Reed.
Yeah.
So, she is just gorgeous and kind and compassionate, smart as a whip, and funny, and she can keep up
one of the greats. One of the greats.
Sure. It is definitely it's very odd that we choose to watch a movie that features suicide around the holidays.
Right. But
there's a lot of redemption that happens for everybody along that way. But it made me think about because I literally watch that movie every year. I could watch it anytime. I am always...
And I cry every year.
I am I am beyond Paul Williams level of crying.
Oh, no.
I am a blubbering mess, throwing myself against walls and sliding down to the floor. Because, man, no man is a failure who has friends.
I know.
Stop it. There we are. What are some other movies that you think that you were I can totally rewatch? Doesn't have to be a holiday thing.
No, I got a few here that... The Way We Were.
Oh, Barbara, another tearjerker.
Yeah, I cry at the end of that one every year. When I meet on the street. It's a Wonderful Life, of course.
Robert Redford.
On a Christmas Vacation, the first one with Chevy Chase. I love that movie. I think it's hysterical. I laugh every time. I just think it's around the holidays. It's light. It's funny. It's
Can I tell you? I think I've seen that movie maybe twice.
Oh, I
know. It's on every. Oh, it's
I just always get a kick out of it. The Godfather 1 and 2. I like the first two Godfather movies.
Right. So, but do you have do you revisit them and watch them?
A few years ago, I think maybe it was one of the COVID. I was just watching old movies. It just gave me comfort.
Right. Yeah.
And I don't think I think I started on a plane watching one of them, and I had to finish. And I watched 1, 2, and 3, I think. And 1 and 2 are the two I like the best.
Well, yeah.
And then there's this other quirky movie, Scott, that you probably haven't heard about. It was directed by Harold Ramis, so I guess I'm partial to his movies. It's called, Kathy's listening at home going, I know you're going to say it, Club Paradise. It is like a National Lampoon kind of. It's with Robin Williams, Rick Moranis, Eugene Levy, Peter O'Toole, the late, as he passed away this week, Jimmy Cliff, Brian Doyle Murray, Andrea Martin, Joanna Cassidy. It is Twiggy is in it. This is a crazy movie, but I'm a big fan of Jamaica. I'm a big fan of all of those comedic actors.
What year was that? Was
86. 86.
You know, the name does familiar, and I think I can see the movie poster, but I don't think I've seen it.
And the music is great. Jimmy Cliff sings in it, and I used to we used to sit around and get high and watch the movie. And it's, I haven't seen it in a few years, but it was like my friends, that's what we love doing, getting high and watching Club Paradise. It's just
that is hilarious.
It is funny, and it's stupid, and there's Andrea Martin is on a beach. She's on a nude beach in Jamaica, and she's gotten naked, and her husband, played by who plays her husband? I forget who plays it. It's not Eugene Levy, but it's somebody else that we know. Anyway, he keeps trying to cover her up, and she's like pushes away he's putting like a folder in front of her, and she's like, "I want to be naked for the rest of my life." And I don't know why. That's a movie where I can quote. There's not a lot of movies I can quote. Anyway, if you're ever looking for something really mindless and you like to imbibe, check that one out.
There you go. But also along that line, when I was in high school, every weekend we would watch either Raising Arizona.
Oh yeah,
with where the world first got Holly Hunter, really, and Nicolas Cage, and Frances McDormand is in that
too.
But also Airplane. I
think I've only seen it maybe once.
Not me. I literally every weekend, it was one of those two movies. I even had, back in the day, you could get a cassette of the dialogue of Airplane. It was kind of they edited it down a little bit, but I could listen to the movie Airplane while I was driving my mom's VW Rabbit with her cassette player.
Oh yeah,
and I would just crack myself up the whole time. For me, it is one of the funniest movies of all time.
Barbara Billingsley. I speak jive.
Yes, I speak jive. Yes. And the whole thing. But Johnny on there, he was another, kind of influenced me too. He was the guy that works in the air traffic control that kind of pops in, just says something and goes away. He's very gay and very flamboyant, and
I have to watch it again.
The fog is getting thicker and Leon's getting larger. It was just so silly and nothing but visual gags and puns that for me, it is still one of the funniest movies of all time. I can watch it any day.
People agree with that one.
And go and quote it front to back.
Yeah.
It's just mwah. And oddly enough, one movie that if I'm ever, I guess we don't do this anymore, channel surfing. Gone is the days of channel surfing. I loved channel surfing. But if I was channel surfing and I would ever come across Steel Magnolias,
that's good.
No matter where it was in the film, I had to stop and watch it until the end.
Oh, I forgot Shawshank Redemption. That's another one I have to watch if I come upon it. That's another great one.
It's really, look, you know why? This is where I feel kind of like, it's a fabulous film. I love it. It's also, I love the short story. Because, it's Stephen King short story.
Oh, yeah. Yes, that's true.
I know. You're always like, wait, what? Stephen King?
That's right.
It also came from the same collection where we got Stand By Me.
Oh.
So it's like that sort of thing.
Yeah.
It was called The Different Seasons. I think this Hope Springs Eternal is the one. It's Rita Hayworth on the Shawshank Redemption. And they did such a fantastic job adapting it to the screen that all of the surprises that happen, I knew all of them because they were so loyal to the book. So while I enjoyed the movie, I'm always like, oh, I know what it is.
I didn't know.
Right, but it's but it's such a beautiful film. I love that.
I love that one too.
Any hoozles. So it's snowy out. If you want to feel like sticking around inside and watching a couple movies and things, revisiting old classics, those are some that we just kind of like around here. So there we are. And that brings us to the end of another show. I want to thank all of our guests. Chris Pasternak, make sure you go to seasonofconcern.org to see all the things that are going on. And singer-turned-conductor Christine Brandis, conducting Falstaff at Chicago Opera Theater. Devin, thank you so much for everything. I'm thankful for you, always. Paul, thank you for whatever it is you do. I, too, am thankful for you.
Thank you,
as well, Paul. Ellen, always a pleasure
to
see you.
Good
and
to see
until
you
next
too.
week, I'm Scott Duff.
Stay proud.